So, this is now day 17 of my new condition, and this is day 13, sorry, of being in hospital. So I just wanted to do a little video about how this all came about, because it's a very rare condition, and to kind of get my head round it as well and see if it could help other people, because not a lot of people know what it is. So 2 weeks ago, well, it goes far back, but 2 weeks ago I got a small lump under my arm, and it was about the size of a 10p piece, and within a couple of hours I had a bruise that was roughly this size. So I spoke to the doctor, they had no idea what it was, and by the evening, about 7:30 at night, the bruise had taken up, this is a lot better, the bruise had then taken up to about here. So I had to go into A&E. I spoke to the out of hours GP there, and they said that I had to get some blood tests to see what was going on. So that was Wednesday night. By Thursday the next morning, the bruise had come down to about here, and it was black and purple. And I went in, got some blood tests, waited, they came back very quick. Got another phone call from the GP to go back into A&E to see what was going on. So I went back into A&E again, and again they didn't know what quite was happening. They told me that it was a blood condition and that my blood wasn't clotting properly, but they weren't quite sure why or how. And then they sent me home and told me that if I feel sick, dizzy, or cut myself or start bleeding from anywhere, to come straight back into A&E, which was a bit scary, because obviously with me being on my own with Daniel when James was at work, it was with the quarantine going on, and I thought, right, okay, if to cut myself I need to get to A&E straight away. So Friday I got another phone call from the GP and told me to go straight back in to get more blood tests. I got more blood tests taken on Friday, and by this point the bruise had now come from here roughly to about there. So this is now 2 weeks old, this one, so it is getting a lot better, and this is a treatment to about here. Went back home, and then I got a phone call to go in to be admitted into hospital on the Friday. So I got admitted into hospital, which was quite strange and scary in this current climate with the COVID. I was there till about 10:30 at night, and I then got sent home and got told that they think I had haemophilia. So you go home and you do Dr. Google, which I know you shouldn't, but we did, and we had a weekend of worry, which was that the haemophilia, all the things that were coming up, was that it was hereditary and that I could have passed it on to Daniel. There was lots of phone calls back and forward to home to try and figure out where this has come from, how could it be haemophilia, and as that weekend went on, and again it was, if you feel ill, if you feel sick, if you feel dizzy, if you start being sick, if you start bleeding, you need to come into A&E straight away. As the weekend went on, this bruise continued to go further down, and it was more, my whole arm was more this colour. I started to feel tired, I started to feel achy, again, more than normal, because obviously being a new mum, it's just something that you do. Late nights going back and forward to A&E in the hospital, just thought it was that. This arm then started to get numb, like tingling feelings and pains in my wrist, and my hand started to get really stiff and achy. So over the weekend, by Monday morning, I woke up and I had lost all the feeling in this arm. None of the bruising had come up yet, but I couldn't physically open my hand. My hand was like this. Um, James had went to work, and I was trying to feed and change Daniel, and I couldn't physically pick him up. I couldn't open my hand. I couldn't change his nappy. My whole arm had went numb. So I had rung the GP again and just said this really isn't right. They got in touch with a haematologist at another hospital in the next county. We then got another phone call that says you need to get to A&E now. And so James came home, took me up to A&E. This was at 3:30. For blood tests, they said. So we went up with just my phone. At about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, I got told that I was getting transferred to the next county to a hospital, to ring James, pack a bag, and that was roughly it. And again, that I had haemophilia, and they were waiting for an ambulance to take me quite urgently. So I got in the ambulance and I got to the next hospital at about 11:30 at night, where I got put onto a haematology and oncology ward, and I saw this amazing lady, doctor, and it turns out that I have something called acquired haemophilia, which is mostly in elderly people, that they can get between 80 and onwards. So the kind that I've got is postpartum acquired haemophilia, and it's an autoimmune disease, and it is 1 in a million women can get this after giving birth. There was a lot to take in. I then got told that there wasn't a quick fix, and my overnight bag would need to be a lot more. Obviously, with the current climate as well, there's 0 visitors in this ward, and I'll explain a little bit more of that in a minute. And the lady was lovely. She explained how rare it was and said that we need to start treatment straight away. Sorry. So yeah, she said that one of the things that it is there's something in your blood called factor 8, which is your clotting thing in your blood, and mine was at 3%. So they managed to get a cannula into this arm, and I got this treatment called FIBA, which was put in back in the factor 8 into my blood. So I got that night. It takes about an hour to get into your blood system because you have to slowly inject it straight into your bloods. So I had FIBA for over a week, twice a day, straight into my veins. I've managed to stop that now. That's good. And one of the other treatments that they need to do is, because this is an autoimmune disease, is suppress my immune system. So I'm now on lots of tablets to suppress my immune system, to stop my body attacking my white blood cells, to attacking my red blood cells, which is attacking my blood clotting. So the next day I met another gentleman called Dr. Sutton, who is now my specialist, and met all these lovely, amazing people on this ward. I now have a haemophilia nurse, and the staff here at the Royal Stoke oncology and haematology are amazing. The NHS have literally changed and saved me, because it could have been how bad it was if I had been on my own with Daniel and cut my finger while chopping onions, or had a nosebleed. I would have bled out, which is really scary. But I'm now in the right place. So yeah, it's definitely a lot to get your head around. But I really wanted to make this because looking back, I started to get bruising. Probably a month, 2 months. The first time that I mentioned it to my GP was at my 8-week check, that I was getting bruising quite easy. For someone who'd never bruised a lot, I would brush past someone or bump into someone and I would get a big bruise. And they just said that it was hormones and you've just had a baby and your body's changing and it's 9 months to make a baby and it's 9 months to have your body back to normal. I was feeling a bit tired, a bit achy. And again, it was, you've just had a new baby, you're a newborn mom, your new mom. So we kind of just put it down to that. But as the months went on, I constantly kept going back to the GP and was like, I was feeling dizzy or I was feeling just tired. And then I thought, well, maybe I'm anemic. And I kept saying, look, these bruises, I'm changing my little boy's nappy and then I've got a massive bruise on my leg because he's accidentally kicked me, or he's been tired and this one actually here was from Daniel just doing this while he was tired. I've got this bruise. Like I say, it's a lot better. These ones we think, I don't know if you can see these ones again. They are a lot better. These are just from Daniel sleeping on my arm. So I went back to the GP and again I got blood tests and they said that there's nothing coming back in your blood. There's a slight liver enzyme that's elevated, but that could be that you're just fighting off an infection. I have two other conditions, one that's called endometriosis and one that's called joint hypermobility. So because a lot of my bruises were at the top of my legs and in my stomach from where Daniel was sitting, they put it down to my endometriosis. I had another massive bruise on my foot when I accidentally stood on a little plastic toy, and they put that down to hypermobility and suspected broken foot. A month later I went back again and just said, look, I really still don't feel right. These bruises are really not right. They did more blood tests and they just said again, it's just a new thing that you bruise. And it wasn't until this one really came up, that thing that was the game changer, because it wasn't related to a joint or my other condition. So yeah, this is, like I say, this is really rare, and I just wanted people to kind of, if you are going through this, or if you do know someone who's maybe just had a baby and they're bruising easy, or they're tired, or they're achy, because a lot of this acquired haemophilia is bleeding into the joints as well. Because I keep going back to the GP, you're not insane as much as you think you are. You know your own body. I knew something wasn't right. This has never happened to me before. I didn't know what it was. But you need to keep pushing it, because if we hadn't, like I said, something little insignificant of me cutting my finger could have resulted in something quite horrific. So the positives of this now is that the staff here, like I say, have been fantastic. They've been amazing. It is life-changing. I am on about 40 tablets a day at the minute. I also now, it is a positive, I also need to take my blood sugar because of the steroids that I'm on for my immune system, to keep an eye on that. But it's a step in the right direction. The treatment is working, which is good. It's taken a little while because it went gone on for so long. So I think I'm probably going to have another week in here, and then I can hopefully get home. This is something that I will have for the rest of my life. It kind of just like flare ups. So this could be it. It will be something that I will have for the rest of my life, and I will need to live with it. It might never get this bad again. on, it might, but the good thing about it now is now that I've done the hospital stint and I kind of know what's going on, if something does go like this wrong again, I know that I could be in for 2 to 3 weeks depending on how bad it can get. And yeah, I'm just, it is going to change us and us as a family and different things, but I've still got my family and it's still in the right place. And like I say, the NHS has just been fantastic, and the nurses, the healthcares, the doctors, the cleaners, everybody, they're popping in, asking how Daniel is, keeping me going. Because of the COVID-19 thing at the minute, I can't leave this room because of the suppressed immune system. It's so everybody on this ward, we can't leave the room. So this is my little bubble at the minute, which is why I've started to do this, because it can get a bit lonely, and yeah, it's nice to talk. So I've got another video to show you the meds. So I'm going to try and do like a day in my life at the minute and all the different things. And if there's any questions or anything, or if I've not quite explained myself right, just ask me. And I hope that this kind of explains what's going on and maybe help someone somewhere. Stay safe, guys. Please stay indoors. Like I say, these guys are risking their lives. Coming into work to make us better so I can get home to my little boy and my husband. And I will speak to you all soon. Bye.